Okay, guys, so today we're going to be talking about servant leadership, as it's a very powerful leadership principle. So bring my board a little bit closer. Let's discuss some of these key principles, and I made a few notes here to go through with you. So there's two kinds of leaders, really, in the main. I mean, there's lots of kinds of leaders, but two that I want to talk about. Those who serve themselves and those who serve their people, okay? So one kind of builds fear and the other builds trust. And trust, of course, wins every time. Think about the speed of trust. We all need more trust in our businesses. That's how we get, that's how we build great teams. That's how we build a great business. If customers trust us, the faster they trust us, the faster we can do business and grow our business, right? So really, there's servant leadership. Okay, so we flip the organization chart upside down. That's servant leadership. I'm going to actually draw that on the board because the leader's job is not to be on top. It's your job to support the people that you're serving. Okay, this is really, really key. I really want to get this through to you guys. It's so powerful. And as soon as you have that mindset shift, then you start to change your daily habits and the way you lead your people. Then you can build a fantastic team. And it's not soft, it's strategic. The servant leader's role is to remove friction, to build capability, to create an environment where others can thrive. So it's just like chalk and cheese. Okay, and I can tell you this from experience because I spent probably the first 10 years of my business life like a what's the word? We sort of had a boss and servant culture. So we went from being very like a blame culture, a toxic culture, a horrible culture. And it's a culture that I see in most businesses, right? Probably 99% of businesses. There's not many that have a great culture because they don't have great leadership, right? It starts with great leadership. And if you've got a toxic culture, you can't really grow and you can't do great things. It's like an anchor. It's slowing you down all the time. It creates a lot of friction that you don't need, right? Just an utter waste of time. So let's look at it this way, right? The traditional organization chart, you have the CEO at the top. You have the senior leadership team here. However many you've got, you might have 5 of those. And then you've got people under them, right? You got your like middle management team. And then under them, you've got everybody else, right? Lots and lots of people. And that's kind of how it works. But it doesn't really work. So we flipped the script. In about 2015, I came across the principle of putting your people first, putting culture first, putting growing people as the number one priority in the business. And everything started to change really, really quickly. And in just 1 year, we went from a really toxic, horrible culture, thanks to me, awful leadership, just shocking. I wasn't growing and learning. Went through a period where I just wasn't learning, wasn't reading great books. Well, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? So the classic mistake that every business owner makes, or most business owners make. And then we flipped it on its head and said, right, let's build a great culture. And we set this crazy BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal to become the best place to work in New Zealand. We didn't know how to do that. We didn't have a clue. We started Googling and we found the IBM Connexa Awards, which have been running for 17 years. We went crazy on building a great culture. We turned it around and actually won New Zealand's best workplace in 2016. Unreal. Like we went from terrible to amazing. We got a score of 96% employee engagement, and the judges said it was the best they've ever seen in 17 years of running the competition. So I can tell you this stuff works, right? And I want to share one of those, the founding principle is servant leadership. So you flip the org chart on its head. Here's you, the owner or the CEO, whatever you want to call yourself, right? Just making sure the recording is going. Yes, it is. Okay, and then you've got your senior leadership team there, right? And then they're supporting the middle management team, right? And then they are supporting all the frontline staff, depending on the size of your business, right? You might not have this many layers. The less layers, the better. And then you've got your customers here, right? So these are the frontline people dealing with your customers. And of course, if you're a CEO, if you're a good CEO, you should be dealing with customers, talking to customers every day as well, right? But this is your job to support and serve the people that you lead. Because guess what? As we've talked about many times, service is the greatest honor. It's the greatest thing you can possibly do because none of us would be here without the service of others, right? Uplifting service. So you effectively create I'm going to grab a bit of pen here. You effectively create an upside down pyramid, right? CEO at the bottom or the owner, and then senior leadership team, middle management, frontline staff, and then customers, right? So that, we're here in business to improve the life of the customer. Let me remind you of that. That's so important, right? Very, very, very important. So there's a few tips there. I'm going to just go through, I've made a few more notes here of